moved on in because the Brazil server just opened up.
Oh yeah, did they swap?
They did. Well, they haven't moved over completely. I mean, they've made accounts, but they haven't gone for like a full like server switch. Because I think somewhere that was like being offered, like you can actually get like an account transfer, but they haven't actually decided to do it. But I mean, the ping difference for them is phenomenal. I mean, we're playing on NA server right now, which also, by the way, we did just get an update. There's Rengar right there with his glowing eye here, but there's a noticeable ping.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that was actually something that I remember, like a thread a long time ago. How can you tell if a champion's good or not? They have glowing eyes.
There it is.
It's clearly not true. Like I look around and I see Rumble doesn't have glowing eyes. Sona doesn't.
Well,
you know, any number of champions.
Well, to be fair, he's only really got like one glowing eye, so he's like halfway there.
He's halfway there.
He's halfway there. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, but. Back to Dash9 though. So the ping difference for them between NA and Brazil server is actually pretty huge. They say they average about like 150 ping on NA, but remember the Brazil server is actually not in Brazil. The Brazil server is actually in Miami.
Yeah.
So, but the difference there is huge. They get like 60.
Oh wow. I've heard that the big deal is there's a like a Miami to Brazil. I'm not sure where it goes, but there's like a Miami to Brazil pipeline that runs just fiber optic cables and is like the main backbone for a lot of South American internet. And it starts in Miami, and that's why the servers are in Miami, because it's actually a very short distance.
It's not too bad. But I also remember that we were talking with Ask Joshi about similar.
The real Ask Joshi?
The real Ask Joshi. We're actually talking to him about like similar bandwidth pipelines. With there is a cross-country burrito tunnel that we also keep talking about as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cross-country burrito tunnel, man. It's kind of like those bank teller.
Who uses those?
I do.
Oh well, no, I meant which company? They just shoot them down the.
It's Taco Bell probably for one. Probably same thing with Chipotle also. But you know what? That's again, I keep talking about food. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So right now, the bans are already done. Dash9, they're gonna play it safe. It's a new champion. Might as well just ban him out. Shen, Karthus, and Rengar are out of there. And then Ultimus, they're gonna take out Alistar, TF, and the Mord. So and you still have a few great champs, but there's the Maokai, the first pickup
like
for
you
Dash9.
said, this is a South American team, so banning out Mordekaiser. Always a must. But we'll go with the Maokai. Maokai is just such a strong all-around champion. We'll be very safe. Diana is open though, and I want to see Diana. I've seen very limited amounts of play. OGN Diana was played by both Zubu Blaze and Frost, and looked really good there. So I want to see someone play her. Bring her out.
Yeah, actually, I remember I was actually watching for anyone who watches Nick Allen on Whose League Is It Anyway with State of League Travis there. They had a little discussion, too, about how I think Diana's not actually going to be available for regionals and worlds.
Oh, wow.
Along with the champs that I guess are coming out afterwards.
So they've locked the patch on the current one for a tournament?
Yeah, and even then, IPL Face-Off, we also... Diana was locked for our tournament as well. So that may actually just be the thing going forward until Season 2, at least with the Riot Circuit events.
Yeah, no, at this point in time, because it's... they're already doing their regional championships.
Yep.
It makes sense to lock the patch. So that's kind of interesting to hear. But right now, we do have really strong initiation for Mono, going with that Malphite Morgana combo. Always a really common combo. And then going with the Nunu and Vladimir for Dash9. They're going to be able to protect the backline very easily. So the hard initiation that Malphite and Morgana have, it could be kind of countered a little bit by the AoE clearing that Maokai has and his counter AoE, and then also Nunu can throw up his ultimate afterwards to kind of split the team in half and protect the backline. So we'll have to see. Also, they have Vladimir, so that's going to be a very safe pick for them. And if they run a double AP, that'll work out very well against Malphite.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if Malphite's going in the jungle. I would hope he's going in the jungle now as opposed to going top lane. And I really like this Ezreal pick because it's actually, not only is Ezreal really strong, but the bigger issue is if Dash9 for their last two picks went with Ahri and Ezreal, their team would be almost unkillable as far as Morgana and Malphite are concerned. So that would be very difficult for them. So it is going to be a safe pick. And we've seen a lot of the Ezreal-Lulu combo in that bottom lane recently.
And also, in terms of the greater schemes of things, this is also looking to be a shield comp in the work as well. You got Malphite. He's going to be going straight on in with the ult. He's going to have the black shield. He's going to have both the Lulu shield and even potentially the ultimate come up as well. Actually, no. Actually going to switch it up. Going to be going for the Soraka instead, which is actually equally as good with that heal and the armor buff, plus also the infuse on Ezreal. Bot lane can just be so abusive.
Yeah, I think Lulu's very strong. She's a lot of fun. Her pushing potential in the lane, as well as harass, has been very strong. But I remember at Face-Off, Expecia was actually saying that he doesn't like Lulu. He would just prefer to play Soraka every time. And if you want that pushing potential that Lulu has, you go with the Star Call. You get a level in it early, so you can just constantly clear the waves, push them into the turret. But then you also have the heals, which is going to be a little bit stronger in a number of situations. And he just didn't think it was worth it for the shields and whatnot that Lulu brings. But we'll see. Definitely some strong picks going with the Darius for the swap up. So that would be definitely interesting. So probably going to be sending Vladimir mid, and Vladimir actually does very well against Morgana. Yeah,
and the spell shield that Morgana has, and it's usually there just to protect from CC, and most Morganas will only ever get one level in it just so you can go ahead, protect from the ganks. But as time goes on, Vlad just melts right through the thing. It's not really a whole lot of protection at all.
I actually remember us watching a match a long time ago. I think it was with Pharrell and Lord, the guy who's 2900 ELO on the EU servers, playing as Vladimir mid versus Morgana. And the big thing with that matchup is Morgana actually can't exchange damage with Vladimir because Morgana is a very passive lane. You tend to just clear the creep waves, but because she doesn't have any direct harass damage, unless she hits you with a snare or something, then she has no way of exchanging. So Vladimir just constantly walks right up to Morgana. You just constantly hit her with your Q. You're healing, and she's just being abused, and it's actually a really abusive matchup. So we'll see how that kind of works. But Nunu and Caitlyn, so Dash9, I really like what they're doing with this comp, because I was actually just talking with Nick outside earlier about this, and Nunu Caitlyn can be one of the most aggressive lanes in the game. Like, it's one of the strongest lanes. Caitlyn is probably the strongest bot lane AD carry as far as laning phase is concerned. So her laning phase is just phenomenal. The big issue is that as she goes later and later into the game, she doesn't scale as well as other ADs because she doesn't have any abilities that are like necessarily the best scaling. She does have good single target scaling on her abilities, but her abilities, they lock her down. You're disabling yourself when you're using them, which is a big issue for an AD carry. And then there's also the fact that she doesn't have any like natural attack speed steroids or anything. But it will be very strong. We'll see how that lane can work. It's a very difficult lane to go against, and it's very strong at tower pushing as well.
I've actually been playing quite a bit of Caitlyn lately.
She's awesome. She's a lot of fun. She's very fluid animations. She is the best.
But the thing is, though, like, I personally, whenever I get into team fights, I'm like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into a team fight, and then by the way, your abilities, just pretend for like 5 seconds that you don't have them, because I'll be that guy who just goes into a fight with Caitlyn and I'm trying to queue people like an idiot. Because that's just what I do sometimes. It's like, oh my god, everyone's so clumped up. Everyone's like right in line for my queue. It's like, no, don't do that. That will slow you down.
Yeah, the big thing is to recognize that you can combo your abilities with Caitlyn. And you can use, when you're doing your dash, in particular your net, you can use your other abilities while you're netting, kind of like Gragas. You can use Gragas' other abilities while you're body slamming. Like, you can charge up your W while you're body slamming. It's the same thing for Caitlyn. So you can actually increase your range on your Q if you Q while you're in the middle of your net animation. It increases your range by a couple hundred I guess game units. I don't know. I want to say
about 3 Teemos.
Yeah, 3.5, maybe 4 Teemos. So that'll actually increase your range, but it gets rid of the casting times. It gets rid of the fact that you're already disabling yourself. You don't have to disable yourself further, but the pushing that it provides is just phenomenal. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ions going with a Star Call early to try and counter out some of that, because it's really can be an aggressive pushing lane. And then with Caitlyn's attack range, it's like 650. Maybe it's only 625, but it's something like that. I think it's actually 650.
It is the biggest in the game, though, right? Oh, like right next to
it's base. It's the biggest.
Base is the biggest. Tristana
and Kog'Maw both outrange her, but I think so. So she must be 650. So she's 650 attack range, I think. Maybe even 675. Her attack range is really ridiculous. But so the pushing potential you have there is phenomenal. The harass you have, she easily outranges every other AD carry in the game. She has very fast attacks also, so the attack animation, you can throw off an auto attack and then retreat and not take any harass. Some champions have slower auto attacks. Most of the AD carries don't. Most of the AD carries have fluid animations, which is partially why they're AD carries. That and good scaling through late game. But so it should be a really exciting thing to see, and they have the team to protect her as well.
Yep. And plus also you got Nunu there with the Blood Boil, which to an extent, alleviates that lack of a steroid we were talking about. So it gives her that extra movement speed, which she's not the most mobile champ. Unless you give, just go ahead and chain those nets. Like if you can come out with like a hack or something, it's like unlimited nets. You're just like always in there. That'd be hilarious to me. But she doesn't move too fast. She doesn't have her own steroid, but Nunu alleviates some of that. But there are also a lot of other supports that really pair well with Caitlyn. Taric and Blitzcrank come to mind because you have that pop-up, you have those stuns. It's like, while you're still stunned, have a cupcake.
Yeah.
Have a trap.
Do you remember, I guess it was back in February, I think it was TSM versus Dignitas or something like that. And no, it was CLG maybe? Yeah, it was CLG versus Dignitas. And Big Fat GG, they were CLG was winning the game, and then I think Cutie Pie dropped a cupcake trap, and GG on his way back, he had to pick up the cupcake, so he stepped on the trap, and that it lost them the game. Dignitas won as a result. So we'll see if we have any of that here.
I still remember when CLG, Caitlyn and Nidalee placing the traps all around bot tier 1.
It's absurd.
Right, and just they were just positioned perfectly so that the entire lane was trapped except for one little gap, which was perfect for minions to walk on through and not touch any of them. It was hilarious.
Caitlyn and Nidalee is one of the most abusive lanes in the game. Like, it's almost impossible to lane against, but Nidalee is absolute trash outside of the laning phase if you don't have any items. And that's the big issue with support in Italy is outside of the laning phase, you're just garbage. Like, you just do absolutely nothing if you don't have any items. So, we'll see that. I remember seeing that, and I thought that would be really cool to come back into play. But Caitlyn and Nunu is a very aggressive lane, and we saw CLG at OGN against CLG EU. Actually, one of their matches, they went Caitlyn Nunu in the mid lane to go for an aggressive push, and they had mid tower down in like the first 5 minutes of the game. No, actually, I think CLG EU countered them out some, but a lot of times you can get towers down very aggressively, very early.
Or even then, we can always just call Lana up and have him run Caitlyn mid.
Okay, yeah, that works too.
I can't remember who was he. He was
subbing.
Against?
He was subbing for someone.
He was subbing for someone, but I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Can't remember who he was facing up against in that lane though. Can't remember offhand. It was an amusing lane. He was just using the ult just purely for harass.
Yeah, and the big thing is it was against an Anivia.
Yes, that's right.
But it allowed him to harass Anivia some, but then also have that strong pushing potential. But we'll have to see where they go here. Lufus Squat, he's going with a Ghost, so having that Vladimir in the mid lane will be very strong. They have Darius as well, so they can try and snowball that.
Actually, Fresta is actually going for the Ghost Ignite as well, so Vlad and Darius...
A lot of mobility.
Lots of mobility there. Plus, you got to catch up to that Maokai, though.
Yeah.
And also, Nunu's going to be pretty fast, so actually, Darius, Vlad, and Caitlyn and Nunu with that mutual Blood Boil, that's actually pretty speedy.
Yeah, no, it is very fast. It allows you to catch up very easily. Darius could try and get the hook back. One thing that I think is going to be kind of interesting in this game is it's been a while since we've seen Kennen as a top lane champion. Kennen used to be played every single game basically as a top lane. They have ridiculous AoE. They're planning on just winning with their AoE, with their CC and everything. But Kennen, a while back, he was nerfed. He lost 25 attack range. And so he went from 575 to 550, I believe. Attack range, which it hurt his harass a little bit, but this is actually a matchup where it's really significant losing that 25 attack range because Kennen, I'm assuming if you look, he's probably going AD Kennen, at least to start, to try and get some damage. Yes, so he is AD, to try and get some damage onto Darius, but Kennen, his attack range, and Darius's hook, because of that nerf, are the same distance, which means that whenever Kennen's looking to get harassed, Darius can try and get that pull, but Nunu, is he going to... Oh, no, other side of the wall. I'm like watching the map.
Almost got it.
Yeah, you actually need to throw it on the wall, and it glitches its way over. Like, you can't just drop it. But
and you have to smart cast it too.
Yeah, smart cast, but very close to getting it. They are pinging, so I think they kind of think that they're there. But yeah, unfortunately, not spotting them out. They will back off actually. So I was kind of wondering if they would go in for the aggressive engage. But they know the wards there, so they know they're not going to get the element of surprise anyway. But it should be interesting. Darius versus Kennen. Every time that Kennen goes in for some auto attack harass, Darius can pull him back. And as long as Darius gets through the first couple of levels of harass, his damage is just going to be phenomenal versus Kennen to try and wear him down.
Yep, and it looks like you got Lulo Squat here. He's actually
they're doing it. They're going mid.
They're doing it. So they're gonna go on in, and it looks like the Vlad bot lane switch. I think we're gonna see it.
Yeah, and it's one reason I kind of didn't think they were going to do that is because Vladimir actually does do very well versus Morgana. Morgana can still hit Vlad through the pool, and so that's one strength that Morgana has. But in lane, Vladimir is very safe. But they do know that Caitlyn can just abuse Morgana. Like Morgana, in the first couple of levels, almost won't be able to lane versus Caitlyn. Like it's going to be too difficult for him. So once he hits level 5 and he can AoE clear with his W, he's going to be fine. But until then, it's going to be very difficult. And they can try and get off a really aggressive push. So I actually really like what they're doing here.
This is, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. 2v1 in the mid of all places. But you know what? It's not too completely out of the question. Dignitas did this recently too, didn't they?
I don't ever remember Dignitas seeing Dignitas
it wasn't in our.
Oh, Maokai's coming mid though. They have the exhaust as well. The flash out. There's no twisted advance actually. He didn't get it, but still some nice damage. Caitlyn is pretty low though.
Plenty of damage, but you got Nunu here drinking those potions also, and Naka is going to be all the protection that Caitlyn really needs. Plus also now that Nunu's in the mid, he can actually go in. He can place the wards offensively, and if he gets a point and consume, also it's like, hey, we got a ward. Your race are up. Nom. Done. Easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the Dignitas because I know they have done some more interesting things coming back from Korea, but I don't remember them ever doing that.
There was one.
I know CLG's done it, but okay.
No, there's one game I remember we mentioned it before about a Karthus going bot. Switching with the
oh well, that was because they were laning against Kassadin, and it was just like they couldn't do it. Like there was just no way for them to make that lane work. But yeah, so you're right. I don't remember. I don't think they went the Caitlyn Nunu lane, but they did send their lane mid. But yeah, it's the same kind of principle.
Well, Caitlyn Nunu is. I mean, it's not. Caitlyn's actually just not an AD we see a whole lot of, but it's great to see her get some play here and actually doing in terms of creep score, it's actually pretty even. Yeah, no, it is a pretty even matchup. I'm just kind of surprised they didn't want to just let him lane versus Morgana because he's going to fall a little bit behind here, but it also sets Morgana behind, so he's not going to be able to, just abuse the mid-game Morgana presence like you normally would. Naka right there with the snowball right into Jintae's face. And also remember all this time that Morgana's using, all this energy, all this mana she's using on the shield, on the bind, on everything. Jintae's going to have to force to back a little bit sooner than he normally would in order to go ahead and keep up on that mana because he's not going to be able to kill enough time in mid for the blue to actually come up onto its second spawn.
Yeah, so we'll see how these lanes kind of progress. They do have the Maokai. He hasn't gone back yet to get his Philosopher's Stone, but he's looking for a gank up top. And actually, Darius could maybe get this off. He's a little bit low, trying to bait in next a little bit. And if they can get the follow-up, they definitely have enough damage for the kill. Maokai, he is going for it, though, and Kennen, getting the Lightning Rush out of there, is able to back off.
Yeah, not a whole lot to be done. No summer spells burned either, so Logic just could not get what he wanted. It's like Fracito was there, he was ready, but just just no opportunities there. And that's also one of the big things about Kennen too, is that that Lightning Rush is just such an amazing escape tool. But it's like, hey, Twisted Advance does do pretty well, but you got to target the thing first.
Yeah, so they will back off, but Wicco getting some great damage, using the net to just get another auto attack on Jintae. They will back off, but Caitlyn can continue to pressure this lane. But now Morgana is starting to get late enough into the game that she should be okay. She's done a pretty good job of holding that lane. So it's really just to Vladimir's disadvantage. And Vladimir has 13 CS right now. So, this lane, it hasn't really worked out in their favor. They're setting themselves behind. They're setting Vladimir in particular behind. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious whether they'll start to transition out of it or if they feel like at this point they're starting to get strong enough that they can actually abuse Caitlyn's pushing and start to take that turret.
Also keep in mind that Jintae on that first back actually bought a Akage's lucky pick. So even if things don't happen to go a little bit awry for Jintae there in the mid, you're gonna have the GP10. It's gonna be okay. You're still making a pretty decent income, and you're investing for the future. But yeah,
in the children.
In the children. But Lula squad there, the bot tier 1 is not looking very healthy, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we'll see how they can do out of this. Doran's usually against an AD, can work out pretty well, helping to negate some of that damage in some matchups. But he's really struggling right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he can do out of this. And Soraka just not making things easy for him, healing some of those minions, silencing at times to prevent some of that harassment underneath the turret. But Logic, he is coming in for next. There's the Twisted Advance. He has the red buff, but Kennen should be able to get out of there. Has the flash, has the lightning rush. So not really a big threat there.
So we're about to hit 7 minutes. There has been no kills, no towers, and there's already about a K.5 lead for Mono.Ultimus.
But Morgana flash ulting on the bot lane and actually will be able to pick up Vladimir underneath. It does stun him through that pull. The bind afterwards picking that up. Darius, in the meantime, trading with Kennen in the top lane as well.
Yep.
So they actually exchanged there. I'm a little bit surprised that Darius had enough damage for that.
Well, then you do have you got the passive onto Darius as well. It's plenty of damage. Even if you do die, it's just keep on bleeding out. But yeah, so I was mentioning before about farm, and now you got some kills to go ahead and right on top of that. So, grant that's 2K. That's a 2K lead on the 8th minute here for Mono, and that's pretty huge. And a good chunk of that is just from farm.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have a really nice farm advantage. They are starting to get some damage on this turret, though, and very quickly it is dropping. Malphite can't quite dissuade them enough, so they will back off. But it is down to half. The next time that Morgana has to leave, they're going to be able to take it. Caitlyn actually almost going for that kill, but will back off. But here's the issue. Yes, they're close to taking out the turret. Maybe they can use that to snowball around the rest of the map. But Morgana is farming fairly well, and then has been able to roam as well and pick up the kill in the bottom lane.
And even though Morgana has decided to roam, usually when you have someone roam like that, it's just pure time to actually just go in and focus in on that turret. And unfortunately, it's at half. Whereas you look at bot tier 1, that you can blow on that thing and it'll fall. Because a minion can fart on it, or banana. Banana works too. So that Mono goes ahead and takes the tier 1 down bot, continues on pushing, and you still have Nunu, you still got Caitlyn here in mid trying to make a difference against Morgana, who's doing just fine.
Yeah, and that's the best thing you can do in that 1v2 lane is not only just to deny the farm, but try and aggressively push so that if the enemy does get a turret of their own, you're keeping up that map advantage. In the meantime, Maokai has been sitting up top. He's been waiting for some ganks to try and protect Darius. He did walk through a ward, though, so Kennen saw him. They were fairly safe there, but Malphite is setting up for a gank mid.
Yeah, got JD Wu. He's here. The Morgana ult coming on in, and the second proc in combination with the Malphite ult will be more than enough to go ahead and get that kill down onto Naka. Another binding here onto Wicco. He followed up by the shard, and the minions are here to help push on in. Twisted Advance onto a minion. Logic will just want to get close to.
I thought they might go for it.
Yeah, I thought they were going to too, but looks like they will actually, the tree and the rock will actually meet in the jungle. But Chao's not too far behind. Logic's in a little bit of trouble. Does have to flash out of there. The shift coming in from Chao. Will it be enough? One more shot.
I thought he had it.
As ults, no kill.
Yeah, so they do back off, and they are going to steal the red, though. Very safe play, taking a 4K gold advantage. Morgana with another bind, but not pressuring it. Will be safe to kind of move back with her team. They are grabbing the red. Jinte just kind of hanging out. He wants to just make sure that they're safe. He wants to make sure that nothing's going to happen. He can engage a fight if he needs to. And Nunu walking out right into the open is going to be stuck in the middle of that team. They get the slow from Malphite. There's the trap actually going to protect him.
Yeah.
Hits Morgana, so just barely out of range. But Chao, if he hits another Mystic Shot, we'll be able to pick that up. He misses one. The bind from Jinte, though, and another attack. The pull does pick it up.
Just enough damage on that Tormented Soil to go ahead and grab that kill onto the Nunu. You got the Ions here joining up with everyone mid. 4-man push here, and just get Jinte, tank it, why not? Let's go ahead, swap out the tanks, wait for the minions to come on in as well. And Wicco, you got the ult right there. It could get something to happen on Morgana. Jinte actually taking a few more turret shots than he would like to. The Q also looking to clear the waves. The Logic going on in, getting the Twisted Advance down onto JD Wu. He's going to take a little bit of damage from the turret, and Wicco trying to get as much damage as he can, but not going to use the ult still quite yet.
Yeah, and Xiao Down is still just pressuring this mid turret. He's able to just constantly push along with the rest of his team. They're doing a really nice job there. Next in the top lane has done a nice job versus Darius as well. Even with that kill exchange, has been playing very safe, been able to harass him down some. And there's the pull. Darius not quite able to follow up on it. The Ghost trying to chase down the electrical surge, but Kennen just a little bit too fast. So just constantly wearing him down.
Yeah, and even then you look at the creep score top lane too. Next is
40?
Next is doubled. That's crazy.
That's absurd to have a 40 CS advantage at this point in the game. And he is going to be transitioning into an AP build. So that's pretty standard. Start off with an AD, Rune Masteries, get some AD items, usually a double Dorans, then transition out of there. So we'll see how he goes with that.
So, but with that, Darius is actually going to go ahead and recall. Does he have he's got actually a good chunk of change saved up, but still though, like I said, just pure farm. Pure farm. Even though there was an even trade earlier, Kennen, there's a 1,000 gold lead. 1,000 gold lead.
And a big issue is that Darius isn't a champion that can play from behind very easily. Vladimir can. Vladimir, even if you're behind, your AoE is just going to be phenomenal, and if your team is strong enough, then you can just AoE and you're going to win team fights. But Darius, he needs to be tanky enough. He needs enough damage to get in the front line.
Yeah.
And if they don't have enough damage to burst someone down from Mono, then Mono is just going to easily control these fights. So, we'll see where they can go from there. JD Wu, with the Oracles, can keep the map presence for them, so they're going to have nice vision there. They could decide to group up and take that dragon as well, since Ezreal's just kind of roaming as is, and it seems they'll probably do it. So they have the pink ward down there. They could probably start it.
And Ezreal's got 2 parts of his Trinity Force also built and ready to go. You got the Sheen, you got the Phage. Those are the important ones. You get that slow, and you also have the extra damage on that ability proc. Wicco's still trying to stick it out here in the mid. Let's take a look at the farm differences. Here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. This has been going on for 13 minutes, and despite a 2v1, Jinte's still keeping up with farm. Ultimate going down. Both of them from Naka. Going to go ahead, get popped up. Torment is still going to go ahead and follow it up. JD Wu actually going to get credit for that kill, and Wicco just can't follow up. Just cannot follow up with the rest of that damage.
Yeah, Caitlyn just doesn't have enough damage at this point. But Vladimir with the Ghost in, the pull, the bind from Morgana, helping them get out of there. So not actually able to follow up on it. Really nice play, nice reaction time from Mono.
Good reaction. It was just kind of like, and that's a tricky corner too, because you have very limited vision if you hug that wall going on in, if you have the right positioning. It's like, oh my god, it's a Vladimir, he's ghosted, get out of here.
It was a really nice play. So,
yeah.
We'll see where they continue from there. Vladimir, 74 CS, has caught up a little bit. So, despite how far behind he was in the beginning of the game, has actually done a nice job catching up. But Morgana is almost done with the Zonias, and that's going to be devastating for him. Having the Malphite into the Morgana along with the Kennen for the follow-up, they have really nice AoE, and then Ezreal's just going to be batting cleanup. So, we'll see how they can, kind of come out of this. But they... Dash9, they need to be able to pick people off in team fights in order to be successful. And they do have that ability with Nunu and with Maokai to just, have these slow kiting fights and then just pick off people like they like.
Yeah, but it's a lot. It's a very big barrier to catch up on. JD Wu with the shard down onto Naka. Ping going out. Nice juke from the bind. Jinte still getting a little bit of damage on their snowball in response. JD Wu going to be a little bit slowed, and Wicco just the entire time still trying to plug as much damage as possible, but unfortunately still no kills going to be happening there. And even then, the longer this game goes on, there's just a further huge disadvantage that Dash9 is going to have. Like I said, just from the farm. Well, 5K. 5K
and Ezreal and Soraka are still pressuring the bottom lane. They're pushing the second turret. It's getting pretty low, so Vladimir has to go back. It's actually very close to dropping on the next wave. We'll see. It looks like they're tanking it, so they're just going for it. Soraka is tanking it. They decided they're going to take this tower right here, so there's the second turret down in the bottom lane. Morgana did grab the blue. Maokai as well. So we'll see if they kind of group up to get an engage. Maokai does have an Oracles himself to try and counter out some of this pressure they've been facing.
Yeah, but no 25 gold for him. The ward that he found in the bush is going to expire just as he discovers it, unfortunately. But still, though, you have, look at all of Mono here. Gathering here right in front of the red. A nice pack of 4. Dash9, granted, they could collapse on this if they want, but I mean, they're still just trying to catch up what they can in farm whenever they can try and get it. And even then, you look at Fresita there, here top lane. How far is things... He caught up just a little bit. It's not quite double, but it's still not the best situation for Darius up top lane.
Oh, but Caitlyn is way out of position, has to net back into the mono base and is trying to retreat.
Wow.
But Jinte not going to let him. He actually doesn't know where Caitlyn is, so
Nice.
Caitlyn, he's going to escape. Hooray!
Good. Nice play.
Yeah, so he's going to get out of there. Really nice job, but losing all of your red buffs. Oh, it's
don't.
very close. He's going to throw in the blind bind. He's going to throw it. He's got the pull.
Oh, no. Got the pull. A little bit of damage on the Wicko. Nice net. Gonna manage to still retreat a little bit. But here's the thing. Next is also
stall enough.
He can't. He just can't do it. And here comes next. There's going to be Shuriken. And no.
Yeah, and in the meantime, they are going to be taking down the dragon.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have just complete control over this entire map. 6K gold, 16 minutes in. They've had stolen both of the reds that have spawned from Dash9, now getting the dragon. So they get that kind of pressure on there. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Vladimir has done a nice job of catching up, though. That's one big thing in their favor. Caitlyn is farming decently, but you know, right now this is not looking good because Morgana gets the catch with the ultimate, Malphite with the follow-up, the flash over from Naka, so they will be able to retreat. But kind of a lackluster fight. They just go down pretty quickly.
It's a very familiar sight, too, because whenever you have the Morgana ult followed up with the Malphite ult, you are not running away. You're not breaking this bind.
Yeah.
Because the chains, that chain doesn't break vertically. You have to, it has to be horizontal. You have to walk away from that thing. Just because you get popped up, not a whole lot's going to happen there. But this is could be a huge fight. You do have Vlad ult coming down. Jinte taking quite a bit of damage, and the last part of that Vlad ult will be enough. The shutdown coming on in, and Versita actually getting the kill down to Ezreal as well. Exhaust going down on the Ions. Do you have the hook? Can you get anything?
Oh.
Where's the Caitlyn ult?
Darius had the ult for the kill, but the silence from Soraka was able to stall him out there. But really nice play from Dash9 to turn things around. They do lose another turret here, though, but it's still a 2-for-0 exchange for them. It's actually even gold, but it opens up some farming time, and it's just kind of like getting what you can.
Yeah.
So they're able to force the fight there. Darius and Vladimir had the damage, for the follow-up. Were able to pick up those kills. So if they had gotten Soraka, that would have been even better, but the really nice timed silence.
Very well done. Very well done. So Versita's there, going to go ahead, hop back into the empty lane to go ahead and start picking up on some of this farm that was left behind in the shatters of the fallen Tier 1 turret here. But all mono, regrouping here, back in the mid. Ions leading the charge here. And the Tier 1 in mid is actually, again, a minion could fart on that thing and it'll just topple on over.
I guess that's part of the new game, that it's patch number 1.7 or something like that.
Yeah,
Riot implemented minion farting.
Minion farts.
So we'll see how that affects future competitive events. But in the meantime, Mono, they do grab another turret.
So, and next, here's the thing, too, about, every time Versita goes up for that push, remember, he's going to be pushing waves a little bit quicker than most tops would, usually just because he has the hemorrhage whenever he goes in for those minion kills. If he's not too careful, he's going to innately push the lane to Next. He's going to have to wait a while for the wave to actually come on in, make his way push back in. If Next decides to freeze the lane, if he decides to devote that time, is keep the minions at bay and try and just deny as much time, as much alone time as possible, Versita will continue still to keep on falling further and further back, and that's exactly what Next is doing right here. He doesn't even need to be with the rest of the team at the moment. He just devote the rest of the game to just staying top lane and denying farm.
And when he does go down, he's going to be very strong. So
yeah,
we'll see how that kind of impacts the fights. But the triple AOE is going to be really devastating. But Vladimir going with the Haunting Guise, actually really like that because it really increases his early damage output. It makes him more of a much stronger mid-game champion. It sacrifices how fast he's going to get into that late game, but they need to be able to win fights in the mid-game. But there's the bind. Oh, not going to go in on him.
Yep.
So we could just take some damage, but we'll be fine.
And also the net does not get you out of stuns, roots, things like that. You will stand still if you do have the net, which even though if you are bind and if you are in a very big team fight situation, that's a better time than most. They just go ahead and get off that net and still yet retain your position, because sometimes in the middle of a fight you don't want to net because you're going to realize it's going to take you so far away if you want to get that slow on somebody.
Yeah, so we'll see how they can control these fights. They can stall a little bit, but Mono's just aggressively coming down to the mid turret, just getting what damage they can. The slow from Nunu does stall them a little bit, but it's still halfway down on this turret. They really need to force this fight pretty quickly if they want to win this.
Uh-oh, you do got Wiki there. Managed to catch Jinty out there, but here comes the Malphite ult, and you also have the ult from Morgana, followed up by the Hourglass, and right now Mono's is looking to clean up entirely. Wikio was not a part of pretty much any of that fight. Just like, hey, I found a Morgana. Morgana's going to flash on over to the lane and ult, and the rest of the team is there looking to clean up.
I thought that they knew Morgana was there, and so I was kind of expecting them to transition over to Morgana and try and burst her down. But having that Hourglass is just too strong. They're able to win that fight very easily. They have enough time. They could probably take down this mid turret. They should almost certainly be able to, and we'll see if they can grab the inhibitor as well. I think they're going to maybe have to back after the inhibitor, but we'll see. It's very close. They're probably going to be able to get it. So Vladimir just barely knocking up in time.
There you go, nice Soraka. Take that bullet for your pile of rocks. But also, you got to talk about the Zhonya's. Kennen has one also.
Yeah.
So even if you do manage to get someone off guard, you still got another AP with a huge AoE ult with that Zhonya's, with that protection. So
if they can bait out the ultimates, though, and then disengage the fight with Nunu, use that to get out of the fight, they can easily turn this around. But Caitlyn over the wall, the flash in from Naka, tries to get the slow, does get it onto JD Wu. The exhaust as well, they're trying to turn this around. The ghost from Vladimir, he wants to get in here, get some kills. JD Wu is very low. One more attack from Caitlyn will be able to take this, but Vladimir still in pursuit, along with Darius. We'll be able to get the hook. No, the flash from Ions is able to get over there, and Kennen is in retreat as well.
Nice
so they are safe, but Ezreal and Morgana, they're actually going to use this time to push down the mid turret and prevent that Baron.
Yeah, it's now, you know what, Dash9, make your choice. Baron or base. And you know what, I think they're also a little bit indecisive here because you got Fresita there. Still kind of confused, like, do we go for Baron? I got a Kennen following me. He's a pretty shocking dude. But with this approach that Dash9 has, they actually have a pretty good angle here. Chow actually getting focused on pretty quick. Does manage to go down, and Jinty there with the ult and the Hourglass. It is back up, stunning 3 members of Dash9, but here comes the hook. Darius has not been stunned, but here comes Kennen with the ult. Here you go. Kill onto Morgana. Kennen ult is done. Does manage to take 2 kills with that. But here comes the Hourglass, number 2. Rikio, can you get the damage? A nice trap to follow that up, and there you go. Nice kill.
Yeah, and so it is an even exchange. They go 3 for 3 there, but they lost their inhibitor.
Yeah.
So Mono making the nice sacrifice. It might have opened up an opportunity for a Baron for Dash9, but they just lost too many members. The AoE was too strong. Morgana and Kennen were both so strong at this point in the game. And Morgana actually going with a Void Staff, which is kind of surprising to me, considering how much utility Morgana would get out of an Abyssal Scepter. It would provide some of the same magic pen, but then still give a little bit more survivability and help her team out a little bit better. But that's fine. She's just... They're so far ahead that it's not really a concern. Morgana recognizes, I can get the Void Staff now. It'll counter out some of their MR, but also it'll prevent them from being able to buy any MR. Like, even if they buy MR, they're not going to get any value out of it. So it's a preventative measure almost.
And also, granted, it's going to prevent the purchase of MR, and it's also going to cut in a little bit, too, for Maokai's ult as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and Maokai actually almost... actually just dinged 10, is actually not quite 11 yet, so that ult is actually still level 1. But he'll hit 11 pretty soon, and that's when Maokai's ult really starts to skyrocket in that protection.
The only issue is that the Void Staff doesn't actually counter out his ultimate because it's the damage is calculated differently, but it does help keep up their damage.
Right.
It's a big thing there. They do try and pressure that dragon a little bit, but Darius zoning them off some. Ezreal actually coming in, poking him down, but the Maokai twisted advance will back him off, and Caitlyn just wrecking Chow Yu down for a second, gets the net out of there as Nex is right in her face.
Nice.
Wicco very low, and Vladimir just with the zoning ultimate.
But Lugo Squat does manage to get a little bit caught up there, but you do have Fresita there, does manage to get the kill on it to the Morgana, just managed to split off away from the rest of the group. But you do have a 4-man push here from Ultimus, from Mono-Ultimus, trying to get push the wave in. You already have the super minions pushing. They could 4-man the Baron. They have plenty of damage.
They have the power.
They have it.
They'll be able to take this. It is going to be a very slow Baron, though, so it actually opens up an opportunity for the Dash9 Gaming to get in there. They do have it warded. You do see the Baron is dropping at a very, very slow pace, but I'm not sure if they were there fast enough. It's still going to be very close. I think they will get there in time. There's the Malphite ultimate, though, trying to turn it around. The Kennen ultimate as well, jumping into the middle of the team, and Naka is very close to going down. Darius as well. The Nunu ultimate trying to zone them off, but he does go down, and Fresita can't pick up the kill fast enough, does get it in the end, but Mono, they're able to pick up 3 kills there. Now they can transition down the base and try and take bot turret.
And you saw that when Dash9 actually went into that last fight, they weren't going as a full 4, they're actually going in like groups of 2. So those ults, they only focused in on 2 members, not the full 4, but that was more than enough. That was plenty.
Yeah, and the big thing is they were just trying to get up there fast enough for the Baron. And they probably, if they had vision in the Baron pit, they probably could have seen the timer and recognized they could, decide their positioning a little bit better, group a little bit better. But Malphite, JD Wu with a nice decision, recognizing, hey, we're not really going for this Baron. Soraka and having Malphite, they can keep themselves very high. So they're not going to get low doing the Baron. Even though it was a slow Baron, it was a very safe Baron, and they can transition right off of it and force a fight.
Lulo Squat is out here. He's still trying to itemize. Blasting One probably going to be looking to be into an Abyssal. If the game continues that long, or even a Woda, could also get that as well. Try and just couple a little bit of damage there with some minimal spell vamp for Aggressive Team, which is not going to be a huge boon, but still that spell vamp on someone like Vlad can be huge. Chow just 1v1 into Dragon while he can, but Jinte right there, front and center. You got 2 members of Dash9 walking on in. You might as well ult and take them out of the picture entirely, but Procedures may be looking to clean up the dunk coming in. The flash not going to be enough to save that Soraka. Next is out in front, trying to keep Logic away, but here comes Chow. He's done from his journey at the Dragon, and the Maokai will go down. It is just the Darius and the Caitlyn, and the Caitlyn, where's the Caitlyn? Caitlyn's off away in the own jungle.
Yeah, but really nice
over
job.
Here, full health.
Wicco, didn't quite want to force it. I think he wanted to get back in his base, but to defend the inhibitor. But really poor timing. Yeah, they probably could have picked it up. But nice job from Mono in the end there, recognizing they could kite back and forth against Darius. And so Kennen, in particular, getting low but able to back off. The inhibitor does respawn, but it's going to drop fairly quickly with all of Mono here. They're going to be able to take this in. Actually, Wicco walking right into Chow Yu down. He's almost able to pick up the kill. The exhaust from Nunu trying to chase him down, but can't quite grab it. And there's the Mystic Shot countering off that Piltover Peacemaker. Vladimir is trying to force this, though, and they don't get the inhibitor in time.
Here comes the Shurelya's pop, but not going to be able to get a whole lot from that. Malphite ult keeping everyone still, but there's the Twisted Advance. There's the Nunu ult. JD Wu taking quite a bit of damage, but does flash over the wall. He will be fine, but Lulo Squat does want to close the gap. But here comes Jinte. Will you get that bind? Something beautiful over the wall, please. Where is it? Trying to just also hide behind that ridge, but the Maokai will back off.
Yeah, so they get the inhibitor, Malphite picking it up in the end. They were able to back off, and we'll see how they pressure this one. So the last inhibitor, they weren't really able to force it in time. Morgana just barely blocking there, and so they will back off. It doesn't. The Morgana shield doesn't actually block the ultimate,
but Soraka heal,
so it does go down. But yeah, the heal was able to get in there. But,
just in time.
Yeah.
Just in time. That was like just barely. It was like, the bullet's like 5 inches from my face. Soraka, give me a heal. But you do have the oracles there from Soraka, and you'll be able to clear the coverage out of the bush. But Dash9, this is a pure desperation move. Wicco's outside of the pit. Jinte may actually go down quick enough, but there comes the Hourglass, and here comes Kennen with an Hourglass of his own as well. Double kill coming from Morgana, then the 2 members of Dash9. Wicco does have to use the cleanse, needs to get out of there, but Chow cleaning on up. Where's the Nunu running home on his own, and that is 4 for free for Mono. And you know what? The fights have been all theirs. They've got a massive, massive gold lead. I think they could just go ahead and take their time, continue pushing on the mid. You can go ahead and take top tower and even probably top inhib also.
Yeah, it's very close. It should probably be the Nexus. They're not going to go for it, though. They're only going for the top. So, aren't quite comfortable that they're going to be able to take the Nexus in time. They take the safe play. Yes. They're going to be able to grab the Nexus back off. We'll see. They can transition, get one of the Nexus turrets at least fairly easily. I think they probably could have taken the Nexus in time, though. But maybe they feel they're strong enough. With the minions there, they could just bully it down. The snare on the Naka, he's very low, but Darius trying to force this fight.
Yeah, you got the Twisted Advance right on in. Malphite getting everybody from Dash9 right out in front of the Nexus. Jinte is actually very low. May actually go down here, but Jill still managing to clear the distance. Could get those binds. Logic down in the middle of the fight. Wiccio, all of our hopes rely on you, but Chow has plenty of damage. We'll chase down Naka, and Wiccio, there you go. Nice ult down on the Kennen, but you know what? The damage has already been done. Actually, right there in the middle of the spawn, Quadra.
Oh, wow. I didn't think there was enough time for it.
I didn't think there was either, but hey, it's still a double kill for Galen, but the damage has already been done. The super minions are here. The Nexus is being focused. All the towers are down, and this should be it. So Monomaniacs.Ultimus should it be able to take this? He's got to clear out the minions. That's just all. Fresita will actually be spawning, but still.
Yeah, GG. Game number 1, Mono do take down Dash9. So we'll see if Dash9 can respond to this. This is the IPL qualifiers. It is a best of 3. So coming into game number 2, we'll kind of see what they do differently.
I thought it was a matter of time because we both did it too. It's like, no, it's not Day9. He's a guy. This is Dash9. This is a team.
Funday Monday.
It was bound to happen. But game 1 going to be going to Mono, and a lot of I mentioned this during the early game farm.
Yeah.
A lot of the early game, pretty much all of the early game. That was about like 2K worth of farm actually.
Yeah, no, they really were ahead in the laning phase, and they were able to bully them around a little bit.
A little bit of dance.
But the big thing was the mid lane swap didn't really work out for them. Morgana was able to farm fairly easily with the pull, so Caitlyn wasn't able to take advantage there, and then Vladimir really fell behind early. So we'll see. I think one of the things maybe with the swap, if they're not comfortable that they can win the lanes, then you can go for a lane swap, so it makes things a little bit easier. You don't have to actually have the lane matchup. It's not Ezreal versus Caitlyn now. It's a 2v1 and a 1v2, which is kind of like, it's just, it happens. Like, Caitlyn in a 2v1 shouldn't ever have to worry about farming. It's just easy. So if they think that they're going to be mismatched in those lanes, having those kind of swaps, it actually does work out to stall off the game a little bit, get yourself into a safe farming situation, so that in the mid game, you can match up in team fights. The big thing is being able to win those fights, and they just didn't quite have enough. Darius was pretty far behind too against Kennen.
Yeah, I would have. I think just in that specific setup, I think I would have liked to see someone like a Graves actually in mid, because at the very least you have a better kit. If not for, in the middle of team fights where you also have an additional steroid on top of Nunu, you also have the buckshot. Those are also great wave clearing capabilities as well. So not only are you farming, you're also pushing more aggressively and quicker than what Caitlyn normally would.
It's actually interesting because I've actually heard the same comment about that Nunu Caitlyn lane in the past, and it's Caitlyn. There's so many things that Caitlyn does better than Graves, and it's excuse me. There's so many things that Caitlyn does better than Graves in lane, and the Caitlyn Nunu lane. Caitlyn can put on so much more harass against that lane. Like against Morgana, Caitlyn's harass is just phenomenal. Pushing towers, Caitlyn does a much easier job of actually physically attacking the towers and poking them down. Graves does have the pushing advantage, though, and the big thing to consider is, who would you rather have your gold on late in the game, Caitlyn or Graves? The answer is always going to be Graves. Just his late game presence is so much phenomenally stronger than Caitlyn's. However, Caitlyn does have that early game advantage, and her early game pushing is phenomenal. That's usually what you're trying to get. They couldn't quite make it happen. They weren't able to take down those early turrets.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens game number 2. Might see a little bit of change in the bans. Might see a little bit of change in the picks. You do have Mono. They will be on blue side, so we'll see what they do from there. And we will be back. This is IPL5 qualifier number 3. We're here on the NA side. Mono Ultimus and Dash9 will be back in just a little bit.